and they brought this retired lieutenant colonel who did this for SF to come in and implement this methodology in their team development program. Can't short circuit the process.
You can't short circuit the process. There are people that are natural salesmen, right? That doesn't mean you can short circuit the process still. You can have someone who is great at articulating and convincing people to do things. There is so much more to sales than that. That's like being really good at one aspect of it. And it's the aspect that people see. Kind of like, what made Kobe and Jordan great. Not what you saw when the lights were on and everybody was in the stands. It's what they did prior, right? So any medical device sales rep, any medical sales, any salesperson will tell you there is a lot of work that goes into becoming very good, or even getting to the point where you can then show off your sales skills, right? So that's why it's like when you were to ask, like, what are the attributes of the best sales rep? No one says persuasiveness, even though naturally you have to be good at persuasion. It's actually, just grit and determination and resilience. Someone who's coachable, someone who will listen and go through the grunt work to get to the point where they can have the opportunity to then try and convince someone, because there's a whole process to it. So I say that so that those people out there who might not think that they're a salesperson, it's just like a salesperson has to be good at such a wide array of things.
And you've never arrived in any single aspect.
Yes, right. The best ones are still getting better. And the best ones will tell you.
Correct.
They'll be confident in what they can do, but they know damn sure, and they'll say out loud, I still need to get better at that. Or I sucked in that last meeting.
I think you can become confident and more effective and build business acumen, sales skill, and still have the mindset that we're talking about.
Correct.
And still understand that you have to remain a student of the game in perpetuity if you want to remain competitive.
Correct.
Right?
100%.
The second you think you've arrived, you've screwed yourself. Interesting little anecdote on that. In 2014, I think it is. I think we're talking more or less, you call it a jack of all trades, master of none. Back to the military reference points. I swear it's the last one.
No.
14, the Cleveland Browns were the first team to do this. They recognized that that there was a gap in team development.
Okay.
In recruiting.
Yeah.
And then the development of those players, right? Their players are their greatest assets. At the end of the day, every team's a business.
This is a great analogy, yeah.
So they went about hiring a retired, I think, lieutenant colonel from Army Special Forces, the Green Berets. I think, unbiasedly or biasedly, are the most unique special operations fighting force amongst the different branches.
That's biased.
That's definitely biased. All right. No, they all have their own charter, right? They all have their own specialty, skill set, mission set, etc. And that's why they have different trainings and different pipelines, right? But Green Berets, I think, are unique in the sense that, and this is why the Browns hired this guy, is when they look at candidates across the Army, one, you have to meet a certain age threshold. So they want a level of maturity. They want a level to add on top of that. They want people, for instance, in the last, 20 years that we've been at various wars, people with combat experience, real life experience. They want maturity. They want people who are intelligent, who have EQ, the highest level of physical fitness, right? And these are all different success criteria or metrics that they gauge a man on. They call it the whole man assessment methodology. The Cleveland Browns adopted this, long story short.
The whole man method.
The whole man assessment methodology. And they brought this retired lieutenant colonel who did this for SF to come in and implement this methodology in their team development program. So I think that speaks volumes.
100%.
If the elite fighting force and the NFL is recognizing that and realizing that, the best teams, because at the end of the day, while you might be by doctrine an individual contributor, organizationally, you are another player on a team that rolls into a VP, makes up, you know, an aggregate to an aggregate to an aggregate quota. So yeah, I think like development is a mindset, being an understanding. It's not about just the art of persuasion. It's not
Yeah.
about
How fast is your 40-yard dash?
right. Yeah, it's who
No
are
matter
you on
what it
back
is.
to our point. It's who you are on the field and off the field,
Yeah.
right? And we can go into different granular kind of subsets of that, like the different types of sales roles, right? You have BDRs, like, you know, traditional sales role, BDR, your business development, right?
Yeah.
How good are you at messaging and building demand and interest to secure a meeting for someone who's more skilled at being a little more consultative,
Right.
you know, in my space would be a little more technical or experience in running a sales process. And then moving on to like maybe that's account management or like the farmer role. And then you have hunter roles,
Yes.
right? And these are different hats, and there's clear lines, right? Based on it's all dependent on industry, like whether medical, technical, real, whatever you name it. Like these are all different hats you must learn how to be proficient in, regardless of what you're selling, where you're selling.
Yes. So like there are, no matter what profession or what it is in life, allow yourself to be challenged. And again, I'm speaking to the youth fresh out of schooling, where your whole life was schooling and you're trying to figure out what you're good at and you think you might know. Most people don't. Throw yourself into something where you'll be challenged. Get as proficient as you can at all the things that you can, which essentially are the grunt work stuff. You'll find yourself getting put in situations where you'll find out what you're good at and not. Don't be deterred by the fact that you're going to fail, because that's fine. Eventually, you'll start to figure out where you belong in the world, like where you naturally
Through the process.
through the process.
And short circuit the process.
You can't short circuit the process.
Thanks for watching. I hope that gave you some real insight. And if you're serious about getting into medical sales or someone you know, send them to me, medsalesblueprint.com. I have tons of resources, tons of content that help people on their way to get into medical sales fast. Phenomenal industry, you know it. People need help getting in, and that's what I'm here for.